UFC Fight Night Costa versus Vettori full card prediction. 12 fights on the entire fight card. Paulo Costa and Marvin Vettori in the main event right there. 5 rounds in the middleweight division. We got Grant Dawson, Ricky Glenn in the co-main event of the lightweight division. Jocelyn Edwards and Jessica Rose Clark in the bantamweight division. Ike Villanueva and Nick Nega Murano in the light heavyweight division. Sungwoo Choi and Alex Caceres. Amazing fight right there in the featherweight division. Dwight Grant and Francisco Tonalo, the ageless wonder. I had no idea. 43 years old. This man is absolutely insane. But that fight in the welterweight division. Randa Marcos, not the best record. I'm going to be fighting Livina Souza in the women's strawweight division. Daniel Lacerda and Jeff Molina in the flyweight division. Gregory Rodriguez and Junyon Park in the middleweight division. Maria Oliveira kind of quit in her fight with Marina Rodriguez. Yeah, she's going to be fighting the UFC against Tabitha Hichi in the women's strawweight division. Jai Herbert, Kama Worthy in the lightweight division. And Jamie Pickett, Loreno Sarapoli in the middleweight division right there. That is going to be the full card for UFC Fight Night Vettori versus Costa, or Costa versus Vettori. But we are going to give our full card prediction for every single one of the fights on UFC Fight Night Costa versus Vettori. We are going to be putting out our bets that we are going to be making for every single fight on the card later on today. So if you guys want to see those bets, click the link in the comment section below, or click the link in the description to see all of the bets I make for UFC, Bellator, PFL, Contender Series, and many, many more. But right now, we go on to the middleweight division right here. Loreno Sarapoli and Jamie Pickett in the UFC middleweight division. Jamie Pickett and Loreno Sarapoli. Whoever loses this fight is probably going to be cut from the UFC. Loreno Sarapoli probably is going to have the power advantage. It's going to come forward with some heavy boxing combinations. And he's not doing too good. He's on a 3-fight losing streak to Roman Dolidze, where he just got clinched the entire time. Tim Means and then Muslim Salikov. So some pretty solid guys that he's been losing to, but he did get 2 wins over Hector Aldana and then Thiago Alves right there. But this fight right here, whoever loses will be cut from the UFC. We got Jamie Pickett with 11 wins and 6 losses, going out there trying to keep range, use that height and use that reach. Because if you look at that right there, I mean, he's going to be 1 inch taller. But if you look at that reach advantage, that is an 8.5 inch reach advantage for Jamie Pickett. But the thing is, Jamie Pickett doesn't really know how to utilize that reach. Every single time the smaller opponents are able to come in with their big shots and get inside of that reach advantage and end up landing some really big shots, clinching up with them, or ended up knocking them out. In the case of Jordan Wright in the last fight right there. So even though he's going to have an 8.5 inch reach advantage right there, it's really not going to do him too much in the fight. But this fight right here with Loreno Sarapoli, Jamie Pickett, is going to be very close. I don't agree with the betting odds of -200 for Loreno and then like +180 for Jamie Pickett. It's a much closer fight because Jamie is going to be taller, is going to be lengthier. He is a natural middleweight fighter, whereas Loreno Sarapoli is a natural welterweight fighter. Maybe a little bit bigger than a welterweight, but he is moving up to the middleweight division. The size of Roman Dolidze in the middleweight division last time around was a very big problem. This fight right here, Jamie Pickett's main game plan is to keep the fight at range, 1-2 leg kick. Every time Loreno Sarapoli comes in with a big combination, clinch up, land a few body shots, get out of the clinch. That is the thing I think Jamie Pickett should do. Every time Loreno starts to come forward, land those big shots, clinch up, land some shots in the clinch, break the clinch, and get back at range. Because I know if Loreno Sarapoli is able to close that distance and Jamie Pickett does not clinch up with Loreno Sarapoli, we're going to see the exact same thing happen that we saw in the Jordan Wright fight, where his back is to the cage and Loreno throwing some really big shots, maybe some knees down the middle, and he's going to knock him out. So the main 2 paths to victory of both guys, Loreno Sarapoli by knockout, coming forward, getting Jamie Pickett's back to the cage, and just throwing some big shots and knocking him out. Jamie Pickett, it would literally just be staying at range, jabbing a 1-2 and clinching when Loreno Sarapoli comes in, maybe going for a few takedown attempts as well. That could definitely be a good idea, but it is a very close fight in the middleweight division. I'm gonna go Jamie Pickett though. He's going to be a lot bigger in terms of size. He's a middleweight versus a welterweight. He's going to be a lot lengthier. I believe that clinching game that we saw from Roman Dolidze, if Jamie Pickett can kind of mimic that in the fight as Loreno Sarapoli comes in, I think he can use that to limit the amount of big shots that Loreno Sarapoli is able to land, and overall just outpoint him at range to a decision right there. But a very, very close fight in the middleweight division, very, very slightly going to Jamie Pickett winning the fight by a 29-28 decision. Very close fight in the middleweight division right there. Kama Worthy and Jai Herbert in the lightweight division. Kama Worthy, the chin, man. The chin has not really been looking too good lately. Getting knocked out really, really badly against Otman Azaitar about a year and a half ago. And then after that, getting knocked out really, really badly against Jamie Malarkey. Literally in the span about 2.5 minutes combined in 2 fights right there. Before that, he knocked out guys like Devontae Smith, beat Luis Pena, beat Joey Munoz, beat a lot of other good guys on the regional scene, but his chin did not look good whatsoever in those last 2 fights. He's going to be a lot older, 35 years old. Jai Herbert's only 33 years old. He's going to be a lot taller by 2 inches, and he's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage. The boxing definitely goes Jai Herbert. The kicking game, I would say, is going to be very, very even, but Jai Herbert coming at range, attacking with the leg kicks, front kicks to the body, and literally the movement of Jai Herbert, I think, is absolutely amazing. He kind of has that Michael Page, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson style, where he's just moving, doing that little sidestep karate style thing, and just coming in with a jab 1-2, getting on the outside really, really fast. Of course, in the last 2 fights, it didn't work out too much for him. The better grappler went out there and submitted him, and Francisco just threw a bomb and ended up knocking him out, I believe, in the first or second round. But this fight right here, Kama Worthy, I don't believe is going to be able to knock him out. I think Jai Herbert is going to keep the fight at range, use his movement, use his speed, and just keep on going in and out, in and out, in and out with a jab, maybe with an overhand right. He's got really good leg kicks at range, really good front kicks, really good body kicks. Overall, he's just a much, much better striking. The wrestling and grappling is very, very even. I don't give either guy really too much of an advantage. I don't see that playing too much of a factor for either guy winning. It's going to stay on the feet. Jai Herbert's going to fight at range. Jab 1-2, stay on the outside, leg kick, body kick, front kick. And overall, with the movement, with the height, with the reach, with the speed advantage, honestly, with the power advantage as well, I'm going to go Jai Herbert winning that fight right there in the lightweight division by a 30-27 unanimous decision. But really good fight in the lightweight division right there. Tabitha Hichi and Maria Oliveira in the women's strawweight division. Tabitha Hichi, of course, going out there a lot smaller in terms of height and in terms of reach. 7-inch reach advantage and a 5-inch reach advantage, or 5-inch height advantage for Maria Oliveira right there. Of course, we know the game plan of Maria Oliveira. Keep the fight on the feet, of course. Keep the fight at range, jabbing 1-2 and leg kicking, body kicking, front kicking, staying away from the wrestling and grappling of Tabitha Hichi and hoping to win a fight by a decision. But if you guys remember who Maria Oliveira is, she's the one that kind of quit in the fight with Marina Rodriguez. Now, of course, it is Marina Rodriguez, and Marina Rodriguez is a very, very good striker, but in that fight, she got pressure, got hit with some really big shots, and she literally went like this and waved out the fight. She literally quit after that fight with Marina Rodriguez, and honestly, just looking at that, that alone doesn't make me want to pick her. That makes me not want to pick her, because she quit in a Dana White and Henry Street fight. If she had not quit, you never know what would have happened. Maybe she could have come back and beat Marina Rodriguez and could have been in the UFC already. So she's a quitter, and that is one of the reasons I'm not going to be picking Maria Oliveira, is because she is a quitter. I'm never going to pick a quitter like Maria Oliveira. But other than that, even though she is a quitter, that is one factor. But another factor is, of course, Tabitha Hichi having absolutely amazing wrestling and grappling. The striking is of course going to go Maria Oliveira. But Tabitha Hichi can go out there, put on really, really good pressure, throw some really big shots, go down for the single leg or trip takedown against the cage, and she's going to dominate her. I think Tabitha Hichi is going to throw some big shots on the feet, close that height and reach advantage that she is going to be having, that Maria Oliveira is going to be having, get the takedown and get the fight down, and I do believe that Taira will be able to get a submission. The only losses from Maria Oliveira, armbar submission loss to Kana Asakura right there, armbar submission loss, a decision loss, and then a knockout loss. But she does not have the best grappling defense. Fighting a girl like Taira, you're gonna need some very, very good grappling defense. So I do think Taira goes out there, puts on the pressure on the feet, gets a takedown, and submits her by specifically arm bar submission in the first or second round. Really good fight in the women's strawweight division. Junior Park and Gregory Rodriguez in the middleweight division. Gregory Rodriguez has a lot of power, man. Coming off some very, very solid wins, knocking out Al Monteveo inside the LFA, then knocking out Josh Fremd in the main event for the LFA vacant middleweight belt. Josh Fremd was a 2.5 to 1 favorite, but Gregory Rodriguez went out there. He looked absolutely amazing, knocking him out in the very first round. Nobody, including myself, thought he was going to win. I thought Fremd was going to win the fight by knockout, but he went out there. He looked absolutely amazing. Then he joins the UFC, fights Dusko Todorovic, I believe, on short notice, and dominates that fight on the feet. He's just absolutely amazing, amazing striking. His chin really held up in the fight as well, put on the pressure, and landed some really big shots. Unanimous decision. But this fight right here, Junior Park, he's a pretty good boxer, jabbing a 1-2 in, decent leg kicks as well, decent body kicks. Gonna have the wrestling advantage, maybe not the grappling advantage, but in terms of the striking, of course, I'm gonna go Gregory Rodriguez. He's gonna have a 5-inch height advantage as well as a 3-inch reach advantage. He's gonna have the power advantage. He's gonna have the speed advantage. He's gonna have the volume advantage. But we do know Junior Park will have the wrestling advantage. Tafon Chukwi and then John Phillips in his last 2 fights. So Junior Park looked absolutely amazing, taking him down and absolutely dominating on top with the ground pound. I believe he had the most shots, most strikes landed in any fight of all time against John Phillips, which was absolutely insane. But this fight right here, Gregory Rodriguez, the grappling shown from Gregory in the past is very, very solid. Armbar submission win, submission win, submission win, and then another submission win right there. He's got very, very good grappling, and that is the reason I'm gonna go for him to win. It's because Junior Park, of course, he does have better wrestling, has really, really good ground pound, has shown in the last 2 fights, but Gregory can definitely use his submissions on bottom. He's really good at getting back up from being taken down, so I don't believe Junior Park can out-wrestle, out-grapple him for 3 straight rounds. Either Gregory latches in a submission from bottom, or uses the submissions to get back up on the feet, or he does have the advantage right there. So for this fight, I see Junior Park coming forward with a lot of pressure, looking for a lot of takedowns, and Gregory defending most of those takedowns, keeping the fight on the feet, using that height and using that reach. And overall, I am going to go Gregory Rodriguez winning that fight. I'm going to go by a decision. Junior Park's a pretty tough guy, so I'm going to go by a decision right there. Gregory Rodriguez keeping the fight on the feet and outstriking Junior Park for 3 straight rounds. 30-27 decision win for Gregory Rodriguez. Really good fight in the middleweight division. Jeff Molina and Daniel Lacerda in the flyweight division. The main game plan of both guys, of course, Jeff Molina going out there, literally just coming forward with heavy pressure, heavy volume, and just outboxing and outstriking Daniel Lacerda for 3 straight rounds and winning the fight by a decision. That is the main way Jeff Molina is going to win, is literally just going to be defending the takedowns of Daniel Lacerda and keeping the fight on the feet. He's got a lot more power than Daniel Lacerda. He's got a lot more speed, of course, than Daniel Lacerda. I believe he's going to have the reach advantage. From the film I've seen of Daniel, he doesn't look as long as 69 inches in reach, so I believe he's going to be at the same height, have the reach advantage, have the speed advantage, have the power advantage, of course, have the cardio advantage. I mean, absolutely insane. He's going to have the volume advantage as well. So in terms of all the striking, Jeff Molina is 100% gonna have the advantage. The one thing I do worry about for Jeff Molina is gonna be the wrestling and grappling game. Daniel Lacerda does have very, very solid wrestling. Out of all of his wins, 6 submission wins and 5 knockout wins. Most of those knockout wins are ground pound TKOs. He's got a couple of them on the feet, but most of them are ground pound TKOs. Going out there, looking to keep the fight at range a little bit, kickbox with his opponent, mixing the takedowns and look for that submission. That is the main way Daniel Lacerda is gonna win. division is literally to keep the fight very, very even on the feet, and then as Jeff Molina is putting on that pressure, go down for the takedown and get the submission. That is the main way I see Daniel Lacerda winning, but Jeff Molina is really, really good off his back. He's got some pretty solid takedown defense. Even if he does get taken down, I believe he'll do a good job of getting right back up on the feet, where of course he's going to have so many advantages in the striking. So either way, even if Daniel Lacerda is able to mix in the takedowns, the advantage for Jeff Molina in the striking is just so great. I don't see Daniel Lacerda winning. So my prediction right here in the flyweight division is Jeff Molina keeping the fight on the feet, defending most of the takedowns of Daniel Lacerda and winning the fight in terms of volume, in terms of speed, in terms of power, and in terms of pretty much everything. Everything in the striking, I believe Jeff Molina has the advantage. So my prediction right here in the flyweight division is Jeff Molina winning that fight by a 29-28 decision. I believe one round could go Daniel in the grappling and wrestling game, but overall, a really good fight in the flyweight division. Lavina Souza and Randa Marcos in the women's strawweight division. Yeah, not necessarily the best record right there. 10 wins, 11 losses, and 1 draw. Now, the first thing I'm gonna say, the record is not really as much of what it seems. I mean, she's lost against some very solid fighters. If you look at the girls that she has lost to, I mean, she beat Tecia Torres on The Ultimate Fighter. One of those losses to Rose Namajunas, one loss to Jessica Penne, Carolina Kowalkiewicz. Courtney Casey isn't that good right there, but she beat Carla Esparza, lost to Alexa Grasso, lost to Nina Nunes, got a draw with Marina Rodriguez. That is very impressive. Beat Angela Hill, lost to Claudia Gadelia, lost to Amanda Ribas, lost to Mackenzie Dern, Kanaka Murata. All of these losses are against very solid fighters. I mean, Nina Nunes, a ranked opponent, Claudia Gadelia, ranked, Mackenzie Dern, ranked, Amanda Ribas, ranked, Kanaka Murata, probably going to be ranked in the next couple of years. Alexa Grasso, ranked, Carla Esparza, a future title challenger, former champion, Rose Namajunas, champion, Tecia Torres, ranked. I mean, all of these girls are very solid opponents. And then you got Lavina Souza. So, I mean, yeah, she's coming off a loss to Luana Pinheiro, who was not really the best opponent right there. I believe Luana and Lavina Souza. I mean, Luana obviously has the better judo, the better wrestling, the better grappling, but we know the game plan to beat a girl like Randa Marcos is literally to go out there, pressure her in the striking, and then take her down and grind upon her for 3 straight rounds to a decision, or submit her like Mackenzie Dern did, or just dominate her like Kanaka Murata did, or dominate her like Luana Pinheiro did. But the main way you're going to beat her is literally to go out there, pressure her, mixing the takedowns, out wrestle and out grapple to a decision. But the main point of me going through the record is to say she's fighting some legit competition and beating legit competition. I mean, it was literally about 2 years ago that she armbarred Angela Hill in the very first round. That is very impressive. So I know even if Lavina Souza is able to land a takedown, she does have a good armbar on bottom. She has 4 submission wins by armbar on her record so far. So if Randa Marcos is going to win, she's going to be outstriking Lavina Souza very slightly on the feet, using the height, using the reach, just jabbing 1-2 and leg kicking and body kicking. I believe she can just slightly out volume Lavina on the feet, maybe out grapple her in terms of the submission game, but Lavina Souza does have the better wrestling just slightly, and I do think she's going to go out there, put on the pressure, mixing the takedowns, stay on top for at least 2 out of the 3 rounds. But it's women's MMA. I mean, anything can happen. I was not impressed in the last fight for Lavina Souza. Not impressed with the fight with Brianna Van Buren. Definitely not impressed with the last 4 fights for Randa Marcos. So these are very low-level women's MMA fighters right here. Both of them, I don't know if they really deserve to be in the UFC anymore, to be quite honest with you. But it's just the lesser of 2 evils, and I'm going to go Lavina Souza just because I believe she's the more powerful puncher. She can come forward, land some big shots, land a takedown, and literally just get some control time, a little bit of ground and pound, and use that to get a decision. This is not a very confident pick because it is women's MMA. I can see Randa finding a way to defend the takedowns and just slightly outstrike her on the feet to like a split decision in the striking. But overall, I am going to go Lavina Souza, winning that fight by very close, 29-28, unanimous decision right there in the fight in the women's strawweight division. Dwight Grant and Francisco Tonalo in the welterweight division. Both guys are not doing too good recently. I mean, the last fight for Dwight Grant, it was a little controversial. You can make an argument that Dwight Grant lost that fight, fight before that, getting knocked out really badly against Daniel Rodriguez, but he almost knocked out Daniel Rodriguez in that fight, but beating Alan Jouban and Carlo Pedersoli, losing to Zach Otto as well. 37 years old and 47 years old, the much lengthier, much taller guy in Dwight Grant. We know the game plan is literally to keep range, stay away from the big power shots, the overhand left of Francisco Trinaldo. Stay away from that. Keep the fight at range, jab and a 1-2, and overhand riding. Get on the outside. Just every time Francisco comes in with some power combinations, literally just keep on moving. Keep on sidestepping. Keep on staying on the outside. Stay away from the pressure of Francisco, and definitely stay away from the wrestling and the clinch game of Francisco Trinaldo. That is what scares me the most for Dwight Grant, is the clinching and the wrestling of Francisco. I already know that Francisco is going to have the advantage in the clinch and have the advantage on the ground, and that is the main way I see him winning. Throwing big shots in the feet, eating a couple as he comes in, but going down for a double leg takedown and ground pounding Dwight Grant, just destroying Dwight Grant in the clinch as well. So my prediction right here is going to go Francisco Trinaldo. I know that Dwight Grant could win if he's able to keep range, make it a very technical striking fight, but eventually Dwight Grant is going to come forward with a big shot, as he usually does. He's going to go a little bit too hard. Francisco is going to close the distance, clinch up, dominate him in the clinch, get a takedown, and ground upon him for 3 straight rounds. Maybe I'll give 1 round to Dwight Grant, just outstriking at range, but overall, I am going to go Trinaldo winning the fight by 29-28 decision. He's a lot stronger, he's a lot bigger, he's got really good ground and pound, way better in the clinch, way better wrestling, way better grappling. Dwight Grant has a better striking at range, but eventually Francisco will close the distance and use that wrestling and clinch work to win the fight. A unanimous decision right there. Really good fight in the welterweight division. Alex Caceres and Sungwoo Choi in the featherweight division. Alex Caceres, we already know, is a very, very flashy kickboxing Muay Thai type of guy. 18 wins and 2 losses. Rear naked choke submission win over Austin Springer, beating Kevin Kroom, beating Chase Hooper, beating Steven Peterson. Not the best opponents right there, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. Steven Peterson, probably, if he loses like 1 more fight, I mean, Steven Peterson, he's like what, 3-3 inside the UFC right now. If he loses 1 more fight, he might get cut from the UFC. Chase Hooper, right now, I believe on a 2-fight losing streak, beating Peter Barrett barely in the final round right there. So that's another one of the wins, beating Austin Springer. Was really not doing too good in the UFC. It was 0-1 in the UFC, so that's another one of his wins. And then Kevin Kroom right there, who's literally just 0-1 with a no contest in the UFC. So all the guys that Alex Caceres is beating recently aren't necessarily the best opponents. And once he really fights some legit opponents like Kron Gracie, like Kwon Wong, who has a very similar style to Sungwoo Choi, he ends up losing those fights. He's fought Yair Rodriguez, Uriah Faber, Sergio Pettis. He's fought some really, really solid guys throughout the years. But this fight with Sungwoo Choi, I know Sungwoo Choi is an absolute beast. He's going to come forward with way, way better boxing than Alex Caceres. He's got really good outside leg kicks, really good front kicks to the body. He's a way, way more powerful striker than Alex Caceres. He's going to be 2 inches taller than Alex Caceres. He's going to have a 1-inch reach advantage over Alex Caceres as well. So in this fight right here, the kicking game, of course, is slightly going to go Alex Caceres, but Sungwoo Choi is going to put on that pressure, get Alex Caceres back to the cage eventually, and literally just go down on strikes. His striking and his power is absolutely unbelievable. The speed of Sungwoo Choi is also absolutely amazing, coming off a knockout with a left hook on Julian Erosa in the very first round, beating Youssef Zalal as well, beating Sumana Mokhtarian by unanimous decision, only losing to Movsar Evil, a ranked opponent inside the UFC, and losing to Gavin Tucker, another guy who's about there as a ranked opponent in the featherweight division. But overall, this fight right here, Alex is going to keep at range, try to use the kicks, body kicks, leg kicks, spinning kicks to the body, head kicks, and maybe try to get a flashy knockout on Sungwoo Choi. But Sungwoo Choi's boxing is going to be way, way too much. He's more powerful. He throws more volume than Alex Caceres. He's a lot faster than Alex Caceres. He's going to be pressuring Alex Caceres, and he's just going to dominate him. I believe this fight is going to be a 30-27. We saw the fight with Manny Fioraz versus Mayra Silva, I believe only 1 or 2 days ago. Choi is going to be doing a similar strategy, but not on the back foot. He's going to be on the front foot, and he's going to come forward with a heck of a lot of volume. Alex Caceres is a very tough guy. I don't think he's going to get knocked out. I think the fight goes all the way, but Choi dominates him in the striking and wins the fight by 30-27, 30-27, and 30-27 unanimous decision. Really good fight in the featherweight division right there. Murano and Ike Villanueva in the light heavyweight division. 10 wins and 1 loss only to Sabar Safarov, recently beating Alexa Kamora in a very, very close fight. It's going to be a lot lengthier than Ike Villanueva. I believe Nick has similar power to Ike, but of course, if we're talking about Ike winning the fight, it's going to be in the boxing exchanges, coming forward, throwing volume, and literally just throwing boxing combinations. The boxing of Ike Villanueva is the best. I mean, the leg kicking of Ike, the body kicking, the overall kicking game of Ike Villanueva is literally not there. There's literally no kicks I've seen from Ike. Maybe an occasional leg kick, front kick, something like that, but he's not much of a kicker. He literally just comes forward with boxing combinations and looks for the knockout. His only one win inside the UFC was a knockout over Vincius Maheda with a big overhand right. The boxing of Ike Villanueva is going to be there. He's going to have the advantage in terms of the boxing, but Nick Murano is going to be out there trying to do the more wrestling and grappling game plan. We've watched the last 3 fights of Ike Villanueva. One of them against Chase Sherman, the other with Jordan Wright, where he got clinched up and they got TKO'd on that one. And the last one with Marcina Paragno, letting a body kick and a lot of leg kicks that really hurt Ike Villanueva in that fight right there. But the leg kicks and body kicks of Nick Murano aren't really the best. But if you're seeing that big of a disadvantage in Ike Villanueva's game in terms of attacking the leg kicks and attacking the body kicks, that's what you need to do. You really need to go out there, limit that movement of the availabilities for Ike Villanueva to even land those boxing combinations. Take the movement out early with the leg kicks and body kicks. And then in the second and third round, as Ike Villanueva starts to get a little bit more tired, his movement starts to fade away, that's when you mix in the wrestling and grappling, as Nick Murano has shown in many of his fights, getting many submission wins. Knockout win right there, knockout win, armbar submission win, rear naked, and bravo. He's going to go out there, out-wrestle him in the second and third round, attack the legs with leg kicks, with body kicks, win the first round on the striking with the leg kicks and body kicks, and then win the rounds in the second and third round with the wrestling and grappling. But overall, there's only one facet to Ike Villanueva, which is going to be the boxing. That is about it. He has no kicking game, he has no wrestling, he has no grappling. Nick Murano is going to attack the lead leg early, mix in the wrestling late, and win the fight by a dominant 30-27 decision. I don't see any path to victory for Ike Villanueva other than Nick Murano coming in and him throwing a big overhand right and getting the knockout. That is the only way Ike is going to win, and I just don't see that happening. Nick Murano winning the first round of the striking and winning the second and third round with the wrestling and grappling. 30-27, unanimous decision win for Nick Murano in the light heavyweight division. Really good fight right there. Jessica Rose Clark and Jocelyn Edwards in the bantamweight division. Jocelyn Edwards with 10 wins and 3 losses. 26 years old, going to be taller, going to be lengthier, overall going to be the better striker at range, but of course she's going to be out there trying to keep range, 1-2 on the outside, leg kicking, body kicking, maybe a front kick every now and then. That is the game plan Jocelyn Edwards really needs to implement against Jessica Rose Clark, is the kicking Muay Thai kickboxing game at range. Once that fight starts to close distance a little bit, where that height and reach doesn't really matter as much, that's where Jessica Rose Clark is going to unleash her boxing combinations. She's more powerful than Jocelyn. She throws more volume than Jocelyn Edwards as well, and overall is going to have the better wrestling and grappling. So of course, the way Edwards is going to win at range with the Muay Thai and kickboxing, and if Jessica Rose Clark is going to win high pressure, high volume game, going out there just closing that distance, getting Jocelyn Edwards back to the cage, and just throwing boxing combinations and then mixing takedowns as well. And that is the main main reason I am going to go Jessica Rose Clark. Of course, Jocelyn Edwards could win the fight at range with the kickboxing and with the Muay Thai, but I think eventually the pressure of Jessica Rose Clark is going to kind of get to Jocelyn. He's going to land some really big shots as Jocelyn's back into the cage, and the wrestling, once that wrestling really starts to take place, as we saw in the last fight, Carol Rosa dominated Jocelyn Edwards with the wrestling and grappling. I think Jessica can do a pretty similar thing to that. Not necessarily dominate her, but kind of keep the fight even on the feet, land some similar volume to Jocelyn Edwards, mixing the takedowns, and use that to kind of sway the fight in her favor on those judges' scorecards. So, I believe the striking, I'm still going to give the advantage to Jessica Rose Clark because she's going to land the more powerful shots, and I believe she's going to land the more effective strikes as well, getting Jocelyn's back to the cage and landing those boxing combinations. So even if the fight stays on the feet, I'm still going to go Jessica Rose Clark, but even that, she's still going to have the wrestling and grappling to fall back on as well. So either way, in the striking, in the wrestling, in the grappling, in the clinching, pretty much every factor in the game, I am going to go Jessica Rose Clark to win, but a very, very close fight in the bantamweight division. Jessica Rose Clark by a 30-27 unanimous decision. Really good fight in the bantamweight division. Grant Dawson and Ricky Glenn in the co-main event of the lightweight division of UFC Fight Night Costa versus Vettori. We got a 27-year-old fighter, going to be a little bit lengthier, but not as tall as Ricky Glenn right there. The boxing of Grant Dawson is decent. He's got a couple of good leg kicks, couple good body kicks, but of course we know the game plan of Grant Dawson is to go out there, get Ricky Glenn's back into the cage, and double leg takedown, the single leg takedown, trip takedown, whatever takedown he needs to do against Ricky Glenn is what he's going to try doing. He's going to double leg him, he's going to single leg him, or he's going to trip him down. Whatever the case may be, he's going to take him down, and he's going to dominate him on the ground. Of course, Ricky Glenn might have a slightly better striking game. 22 wins, 6 losses, and 1 draw, knocking out Joaquim Silva in the very first round, beating Dennis Bermudez, Gavin Tucker, Felipe Nover, a lot of very solid guys in the bantamweight and featherweight division. The lightweight and featherweight division. But this fight right here, even though Ricky Glenn might have a little bit more power in his striking, a little bit more volume in the striking, maybe is going to be landing the more effective strikes in the striking game, even though he's going to have the advantage there, eventually Grant Dawson will be able to get the fight down, and we know once Grant Dawson gets the fight down, he's going to ground upon the heck out of you, as he did in the last fight with Leonardo Santos, with a devastating third round knockout win with 1 second left. He got a second round submission win on Derek Minner, second round submission win on Mike Trezano, Juliano Rosa, second round submission win on Adrian Diaz. All of his wins are him just taking it down and dominating you there, and then either submitting you or just dominating you with ground upon. So I see this fight being the exact same thing. Either we see a late ground upon TKO or an early rear naked choke submission. So those are my predictions right there. I don't think Ricky Glenn will be able to defend the takedown. He's going to get taken down and either get rear nakeded early in the very first round, or he's going to get TKO'd very late in the third or second round. Really good fight in the lightweight division. I just don't see any path to victory for Ricky Glenn other than a fluke knockout as he did last time to Joaquim Silva. But my prediction, Grant Dawson by finish in literally any of the rounds, by knockout or submission, just inside the distance for Grant Dawson. Really good fight in the lightweight division right there. Paulo Costa and Marvin Vettori in the middleweight division, the main event for UFC Fight Night Costa versus Vettori. 5 rounds in the middleweight division. We already know what the game plan of both guys is going to be. Paulo Costa going out there looking to land some very powerful shots and knock out Marvin Vettori. Marvin Vettori looking to out volume Paulo Costa early in the first and second round. Maybe tire out Paulo Costa early in that first and second round. Maybe eat a couple of those big shots from Paulo. Maybe lose the first round. Maybe lose the second round. But as Paulo Costa does start to kind of gas out a little bit in the third, fourth, and fifth round, that is when Marvin is really going to put on a lot of volume, a lot of pressure, and then he's going to start to mix in those wrestling and grappling game plan. But right here, the main way I see Paulo winning is going to be in the first or second round, because I just can't see Paulo winning once the fight does get to the later rounds. So we know the fight with Yoel Romero did go to the third round right there, but that is only 3 rounds, and he was absolutely gassed. Marvin can eat all of the big shots from Paulo Costa. He's going to eat all those shots. Paulo is going to get very, very tired in the first and second round, and he's going to lose later on in the fight. That is why I'm going to go Marvin Vettori. Again, if Paulo is going to win, it has to be in the first or second round, because the cardio later on is not going to be there for Paulo Costa. So again, Paulo, first or second round knockout, or we see Marvin literally just eat the shots early, third, fourth, and fifth round, go out there, put on heavy volume, mixing the wrestling, mixing the grappling, and just TKO him. Maybe submit him in the fourth or fifth round. But overall, I'd probably say the fight is going to go all the way. If we go into UFC stats right here, I believe Paulo Costa does throw a little bit more volume, but that is kind of shadowed by the fight with Yoel Romero, where he landed a buttload of volume, 118 strikes to 125 strikes. But in most of the fights right there, if we go right here to Marvin Vettori, they're throwing very, very similar volume. If you look at the fight with Marvin and Israel Adesanya, 58 strikes to 96 strikes, 12 strikes to, I don't know. I'm not too sure what I'm trying to get at right here, but the thing I'm trying to get at is they both throw pretty similar volume. Paulo in that volume is going to land the more powerful shots, but Marvin mixing in the wrestling as well as the volume on the feet should be able to win the fight by decision. So early rounds, go Paulo. Later rounds, go Marvin with the wrestling and grappling. My prediction, Marvin Vettori by 48-47 unanimous decision. Really good fight in the middleweight division right there. But yeah, that is my full card prediction for UFC Fight Night Costa versus Vettori. 12 fights on the entire fight card, the main event. I got Marvin Vettori going out there, losing the first 2 rounds, winning the last 3 rounds with the wrestling and grappling as a Paulo Costa gets gas and winning the fight by unanimous decision. Grant Dawson, Ricky Glenn. I either had Grant Dawson by a first round submission or by a third round at TKO. Jessica Rose Clark, Jocelyn Edwards. I got Jessica putting on the pressure, landing the more powerful shots, mixing in the grappling and wrestling, and winning the fight by a decision. Nick Murano, Ike Villanueva. I got Nick winning the first round with a kicking game, attacking the leg kicks, attacking with the body kicks, and winning the second and third round as well in the wrestling and grappling game, winning that fight by unanimous decision. Sungwoo Choi literally just outboxing, out-pressuring, out-volume, out-powering, out-speeding Alex Caceres for 3 straight rounds, unanimous decision for Sungwoo Choi. Francisco Tonalo, Dwight Grant. I had Francisco putting on pressure, throwing some big shots in the feet, clinching up, and just out wrestling and out grappling Dwight Grant for at least 2 out of 3 rounds and winning the fight by a decision. Lavina Souza, Randa Marcos. Randa slightly edging Lavina Souza in the striking game, but Lavina mixing in the wrestling and grappling as well, and very, very slightly winning a 29-28 decision. Jeff Molina, Daniel Lacerda. I have Jeff Molina defending the takedowns, keeping the fight on the feet, and winning the fight with the boxing and kickboxing, and winning pretty much every single round. 30-27 for Jeff Molina. Junior Parker and Gregory Rodriguez. I have Gregory defending the takedown, keeping the fight on the feet, using that height, using that reach, using the volume, using the power advantage. Everything in the fight, Gregory will have the striking advantage. So I believe the fight stays on the feet, and Gregory wins the fight by a decision. Tabitha Maria Oliveira. I got Tabitha winning that fight by arm bar submission. Worthy, Jai Herbert. I had the fight staying at range. Jai Herbert using the height, using that reach, coming in and out with the jab and the 1-2, couple of leg kicks, couple of front kicks, and overall winning the fight by unanimous decision. And then Loreno Sarapoli, Jamie Pickett. I got Jamie Pickett keeping the fight at range, using the height, using that reach. Mixing in some case as well, and as Loreno Sarapoli comes in, clinching with Loreno Sarapoli, and then exiting the clinch to stay away from the big power shots of Loreno Sarapoli. But I do think Jamie Pickett can just outpoint strike Loreno Sarapoli at range and win a very, very close decision right there. So overall, that is my full card prediction. I got Jamie Pickett winning, Jai Herbert winning, Tabitha winning, Gregory Rodriguez winning, Jeff Molina winning, Lavina Souza, Francisco Tonalo, Sungwoo Choi, Nick Murano, Jessica Rose Clark, Grant Dawson, and Marvin Vettori. That is my full card prediction for UFC Fight Night Costa versus Vettori. If you guys want to see my bets that I am going to be making for UFC Fight Night Costa versus Vettori, we're going to probably put in about 10 to 12 different props and parlay bets for this fight card right here. So if you want to see those bets, click the link in the description below or in the pinned comment down below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and everything like that. And we'll see you in the next video. Let's go.